Only 2 times the word faith is used in the Old Testament. All right. Oh, what happened with my numbering? Oh, see, on my paper it had 1 through 7, and then on your paper it did 8 through. So I didn't catch that. So that should be 1 through 7. Don't worry about it. But so you have the 3 Hebrews not bowing. They believe God, and that is an act of faith that God was going to preserve them so they would not disobey God. That is an act of faith, even though the word faith is not found in that entire passage. When it says Abraham believed God and offered Isaac as a sacrifice, that's an act of faith. He believed what God told him. He said, he promised him that through Isaac would all his name would be blessed, the nations would be blessed. So he knew that if he killed him, we know this from Hebrews, that God would have to raise him from the dead to keep his word. So that was an act of faith, even though the word faith is not in the context of any of those statements. The closest you get to this, you say, oh, here's the word faith. Well, who's writing this? Who's receiving this? And I'm trying to build for you an idea of how you learn to study the scriptures on your own to try to come up with the right answers so that you can gain more knowledge about the scriptures. All right, so Deuteronomy 32 is written by Moses to Israel in the form of what? And we look at Deuteronomy 31 and verse 30 to get the answer. Yes, Devin? A song. It is of a song so that we will understand them. And if you're not careful, you'll say, well, how could God do that? Well, he's trying to help man understand what he's doing, and man understands by these terms. So he says when he turns he hides his face. He's not going to continue to watch what they're doing and just do nothing about it. Okay, so he's hiding his face. Now the word froward means perverse or twisted. So when you talk about somebody who is froward, they take what is known as truth and they pervert it or they twist it. They change the desired meaning, kind of like man and woman. We have people perverting man and woman to try to make it seem like there's another option. I don't care what a man does to his body, the chromosomes that he was born with are going to determine what he is. That's true science. It doesn't matter what he feels like. It doesn't matter what he's confused about. It doesn't matter what he wants to be. Because if we play this out in as many scenarios as they're trying to make us play it out in our minds, what's to say a 15-year-old boy, well, I want to be a 21-year-old, so I'm going to go into the places that only 21-year-olds can go. That's ridiculous. That's wrong. Just as wrong as a man wanting to be a woman. And I got it, John. I thought, why are you holding that up? It's because he's trying to tell me to turn on my mic. I'm wandering around and don't have my mic on. I said, I've got mine. Why do I need that one? I missed the signal. It just kind of didn't quite connect there. That was a nice, subtle way of doing it too, John. I'm sorry that I was so slow about it. All right. So it says these were a froward generation. And verse 21 describes in 2 ways what a froward generation is. Somebody give me the first one. In verse 21. Kevin? That's the second one. The first one, the long answer, and that's why if I give you a long line, that means it's not a one-word answer. Okay, they moved God to jealousy with that which was not God. So in other words, they're replacing God with something that isn't even anything like God. So that would be, if you wanted a one-word answer, it would be idolatry. They were putting something above God. My phone is going nuts. Is your phone going nuts? No. All right, so the first one was moving God to jealousy. And then the second one was provoke God to anger with their vanities. What's a vanity? No, it's a place that you go stand in front of in a bathroom. No. A vanity means empty. So God was upset by them because what they were doing gave them no value. And they're taking what he had and tossing it aside, and they're taking something that has no value. It'd be like if I handed you a $20,000 gold piece and you threw it down and said, "No, I like this a lot better." That's what the children of Israel were doing with God. They were not respecting. They were so disrespectful to God that what he had, they were throwing aside, and they were taking that of the nations around them that had no value, nothing whatsoever. All right. Then Moses says that these froward Israelites had no what? Devin. Faith. Had no faith. So the first time the Bible uses the word faith in all the Bible, they didn't have any. And it shows us when God is trying to give them a blessing, God is trying to be their God, they're casting him aside. So they had no faith. And it's impossible to please God without faith. So they're not going to please him without that faith. All right, so that's the first time. The second verse, look in Habakkuk, almost to the New Testament, and then turn backwards. That's the faster way for you to get there, unless you know exactly where it is. Chapter 2. Now, if you look in chapter 1, who wrote the book Habakkuk? Zach. You just answered. Do you know that, to be sure? Did you look at verse 1? Did you look at 1:1? So you're guessing. Well, happened to be right. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. Now, this is a little bit different. Who is he talking to, according to chapter 1 and verse 2? Jackie. The Lord. So it's, O Lord, how long shall I cry and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence and thou wilt not save. So Habakkuk is talking to God. He's writing this down, but he's talking to God. Lord, are you not going to hear me? He's a prophet of the Lord, and he feels like God is not listening to him. Which, if you're a prophet of the Lord, that's not the position you want to be in. So, what are the two things that he is accusing God of in verse 2? Kevin? Not hearing and not saving them. Right. Very good. Number 4 there, or for your page, it would be 11. Habakkuk knows it's wrong to complain or question God. We see that in chapter 2 and verse 1. He knows that it's wrong to complain, yet he's just complained about God. You're not hearing me. You're not saving me. So, how do we know that he knows that he's not doing the right thing? What's he say that makes us know he's doing the wrong thing? He's expecting to be what? Somebody else besides Kevin and Jackie and Devin. Anybody else? John. No. Chapter 2, verse 1. Justice. Reproved. It's like he's saying, okay, I'm gonna speak what I want to say, because I just got to get this off my chest. I'm just going to wait for God to hammer me. God, go ahead. Tell me where I'm wrong. I know it must be wrong because I know what I'm thinking is wrong. You ever felt like that about God? You have this thought that something is not, that God is somehow not treating you the way you think, and you're just going to say, God, okay, gently, would you show me why I'm wrong? Because I know I got to be wrong because I know you don't do that. Okay? If you ever accuse of doing something wrong, you know you're wrong because he's perfect. He never does anything wrong. So if my vision sees him doing something wrong, my vision's got the problem. I've got to look at it from his point of view and not mine. And that's a lesson that we all should try to learn and look at. Rather than blame God, something about the way I'm looking at it is not right. I'm not seeing something in the right way. Okay? Number 5, or number 12. Who answers Habakkuk in chapter 2 and verse 2? Matthew, the Lord. Very good. The Lord answers him. And then according to verse 3, let me see. I'm going to read verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So, according to verse 3, what would speak? Justice? Vision, right. The vision would speak in an appointed time and would not lie. It would, Devin, tarry, or take time to arrive. But they are to, what are they supposed to do? John. But they are to what? Wait. We were. They are to wait for it. They are to wait for it. Now, this is what I like about this passage. I preached on this not too long ago. Of course, that might mean it was a year ago, and it just seems like yesterday. But he says here, after revealing all this, he's waiting to be reproved, and God responds to him. Now, verse 4, it says, Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Now, so there's two kinds of people that are described there. What are they? Kevin? Well, not right. Not exactly. Because it says they are... Zach? No. Your guys are missing a very small 3-letter word. Justice. Not upright. So you have those that are not upright and those who are living by faith. We still have that condition today. I would like to say that's the saved and the lost, but that's not true. Even saved people can live without faith, can live and act without faith, and disobey God. But there's those two kinds of people. Those who are not right and those who walk by faith. See, I even gave you the answer in the end. So, all right. So those are the two Old Testament passages. That was just a thought that since we're going to have so many questions, that this was going to be homework. But you're already done. You guys think you're challenging me. Well, that sounded arrogant. I was ready for more questions than that. I mean, I'm not really. The more I say, the worse it gets. All right, let's go ahead and take up some prayer requests tonight. Be in prayer. There's a pastor. Number 29 under healing. I got word today, and I don't know this pastor, but here's another 45-year-old pastor, just like Brother Huber, who was complaining about a headache, and then collapsed, and they rushed him to the hospital. They found he had a brain aneurysm, and they are not expecting him to make it through the day. 45-year-old pastor with 10 kids in Alabama, I believe it is. But his name is McDonald, Patrick McDonald. So just pray for him in that situation. You don't expect that, and that could happen to any one of us at any time. We just need to be serving the Lord and doing all we can. But I'd appreciate your prayers for him. Pray for the weather this weekend and all the things we're trying to get done. Looks like Saturday will be okay for the training because it looks like the major part of the snow will not come until we're done with that. We might be traveling home when it hits. So do pray for the ministries, of different things going on this weekend. Saturday or Friday morning, I've got a funeral for the lady from the nursing home, and then I've got to go pick up Brother Burks after my discipleship classes in Burton, Pittsburgh. Chicago is. That's why they moved it up, which that's okay. Any updates or any other prayer requests mentioned tonight from here? Okay, Rodney?
I have a second cousin, John Buckner, in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He's in the hospital with liver cancer. And my mother is in stage 3 of kidney failure due to diabetes.
Rodney, what's the Lord's name?
How many?
Yeah.
John Buckner? Max? Oh, Max or John? You said John.
Well, they're twins.
Oh,
He's got a twin named John.
it's Max. Okay. How many? Yeah. How many stages? How many stages of liver or kidney failure is it? Okay. Okay. Doug? I have not heard any more since. Well, he had the surgery. He had some problems after that, and they asked for prayer one more time. We prayed, and by that night he was fine. Yeah. That was the last I've heard from that.
He has home liver.
Yes. John? Okay. Any other unspoken? Zach? Was that what that was? Okay. Devin? Okay. Any other prayer? Yes. He's doing good. I'm trying to think the last update we had. No, he's doing fine. Feels fine. They're just. I was trying to remember the limitations they put on him, but he's doing good. Everything went well. Chloe's doing well. She's over 8 pounds now.
Yeah, they're hoping to take her off the monitor every month.
Yeah, which is next week, I think. 8 pounds. Yeah, she's growing like a weed. Going well. Who else? Somebody raised their hand. Dee Dee?
I added number 48, Beth Shield. She's
Oh.
having health issues.
Yes.
She's a specialist on Friday.
I saw that.
And then I think another one on the 28th. I don't know what the health issues are, but if you could pray for
Okay. Talk to Jonathan. I think he has one more test for his exams, final exams. He just passed his last one. I think the final score was a 95. There was only 3 people that had passed the test, and the professor, and there were 7. That means there were 17 in the class. And the professor said, if you want to try to raise that, come and I'll give you some things and you can raise your score. So Jonathan said, can those who passed come and raise their score too? And he ended up with a 95. So that was a good move on his part. Yes. To this point, I don't know that they've made a final ruling on it. I just know that he's still going to school. So they've kind of let him go and trying to That was the last I know, but yeah, and he's planning on finishing school, so if they've determined anything, he hasn't told me that, so that might have been something he slipped his mind over.
Mary Thompson has a computer.
No, she has,
Yeah, she's been
yeah. Yeah, she was here, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before. Yeah.
She prayed for Terry, she got the chest X-ray,
She still had pneumonia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Chest x-ray tomorrow. And Shauna has been going through some health things, so pray for Shauna. Oh, she is? Okay.
Steve and O'Brien is no longer martial law, correct?
Right. They dropped that. They had it for 30 days, and it got dropped.
That's number 25.
Under, on the front? Other needs? Oh, on the back, okay. Yeah. My colonoscopy coming up. I'm excited about that. Not so much, Zach. Martial law is when you give special powers to the president to enact protections on the government because there's some kind of force upon it. And it usually means the people suffer. They lose their rights more. But it's usually a restricted amount of time to get things under control. Doug?
Military takes over from civilians.
Doug? Yes, Katie McElreath will be going, she is friends of ours for a long time. We knew her when she was a little girl. Her parents are very close friends. Then she was a missionary to Ethiopia. They went to Ethiopia, and there she died. She started having symptoms. They brought her back to the States, and they found out she had MS. Well, there's a new treatment. It's what do you call it? Experimental treatments through a hyperbaric, not bolic. That's a statement. That's a comment. A hyperbaric chamber where people have actually been healed of their MS by sitting in that for long periods of time. She'll have 40 days, 4.5 hours a day that she'll be in that, and that has removed symptoms or lowered the symptoms of some people with MS. The problem is she's 5.5 hours away from her family, and for 40 days she's going to be separated from all but the youngest child, and they have somebody going that will help watch the child. So pray for Katie as she undergoes those treatments. The prospects of being MS-free is amazing, and if it works out, I'm going to be telling some people that I know with MS, because what an amazing thing that would be. Okay, I'm going to dismiss the band. If you came on a band, dismiss y'all. Suzette. Yeah, leave your pens. Broke my pens. I've got one pen back here. Okay, we'll see. Yes, we're going to put chains on our pens so you can't walk off with them anymore. Okay. Yeah, next Wednesday I will not be here because I'll be taking the stuff that's going to make me prepared for my test. Yeah, that's what they tell me. I think I'm going to stop eating, and I won't have to worry about it. Thank you for your encouragement. I appreciate that. Oh, so I should go the other way. I'm going to eat a lot more. Yeah. Okay. as I said, to continue to pray for Nancy. And I have not heard, anybody heard from Cosgroves? I'm assuming they made it up. And with this storm, I'm assuming they'll head back down very quickly. But they're supposed to come up to Butler for their funeral of her sister. I never heard any times or anything like that. Do be in prayer for the Rogers. I don't know if you saw that they were using an excursion and went off the road and did $18,000 of damage. Or I should say, it would take $18,000 to fix that, and that's worth more. That's more than the vehicle is worth. And they still have their truck and their trailer. They used the excursion when they wanted to drive without that, and so pray for them to figure out that. And also the Lots are praying about. They would like to get they've decided they don't want a full-size RV, like a 40-footer. They'd like a 30-something footer that they could go and live out of at times, and then they don't want to live there 24/7. So pray for them that they would get what they need. Wherever they want. Prophet's cottages along the way and things like that. Yeah, they have a home with his dad right now, and with his health, they don't want to be too long from him. But that's what they'd like to do as of right now. Okay. Any other prayer requests, Chris?
I know a family up the road here, I can't remember the wife's name, but her name is Scott Plummer. I know, him and his wife having, tough times this past year.
Okay. Okay. Chris? Terry?
Person's family is Susie Winston. I don't personally know her, but I guess she was one member during the program. They sent out one to everybody to let them know that she passed away. Of course, I don't know that it's anything like that, but pray for the family.
What was his name?
Susie Winston. W-E-N-D-E-L.
Did he pass?
Yeah.
Yeah, she passed away before 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Neighbors will open up some doors for this, and Sunday morning, they're going back down the river track, so it's on the way down, and then after it's going to the Arkansas. So, we're hoping that'll open up some doors too.
Okay. Any others before we pray? All right, let's go ahead and spend some time in prayer.